Hi, my name is Josh. I'm here to just talk about the experiences that I had while I was at Bethel Church as a gay man about 10 years ago. So it's taken me quite some time to kind of come back around and talk about what happened while I was there. But I guess I get right to it. Kind of the main issue that I wanted to bring up and the most appalling thing that I encountered while I was there was the effects of conversion therapy on gay people like myself. I was part of gay men's groups. I was part of one-on-one individual counseling through their Sozo ministries, and received counseling for a number of years, which resulted in not working. Um, and so, one of the most notable experiences that stood out during that time was I had a friend named Christian, and we were in the same revival group during our first year program. We were in Matt King's revival group in 2015. And we both went on to do second year, surprisingly enough. I took like a gap year, and then I think he went straight into it that year. And then I did it the year after he completed second year. But anyways, so getting back to Christian, he and I were part of the same revival group. We both were gay, and he basically sought counseling from the Sozo Ministries as well, to cure his same sex attraction, is what they would label it. And so he saw, well, actually, so I saw a gentleman there named Bill, not Bill Johnson. Yeah, a guy named Bill. I'm not going to name his last name. I mean, maybe in a later video. But anyways, I saw Bill for 5 months, 6 months. He struck me as a very artistic guy, very interested in jazz and wine and painting and very, somewhat effeminate hobbies and interests. And so, anyways, all that to paint the picture that Bill was gay, and he had gone through conversion therapy himself. He had married a woman and had children. Those he had two sons or one son. Either way, his son died, and so he just had an incredible amount of trauma in his life going through conversion therapy, and then also losing a kid. And so basically, he counseled me for about 5, 6 months or so, and then I said, "Hey, Christian, you should see this guy. He's great. He's been a mentor of mine. I'm paying for that. You know what I mean? Like, uh, and but it was helping me achieve the results of what I was looking for at the time, which was to not be gay, and then also to just seek general spiritual development. But I needed some type of older figure in my life to provide some stability, to provide some mental vision, guidance, how to navigate, early 20s. I'm 32 now, so this would have been, it would have been 22. And so it's a really hard time of life, and a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties, and certainly a time where you can become reliant on an older person's perspective. So through that journey with Bill, I found a lot of connection with what he was saying and the things he was teaching, and essentially the conversion therapy that I was undergoing. And I suggested to Christian, I said, "Hey, you should see him. You guys would probably vibe, probably have a good connection." So Christian starts to see Bill. They start hanging out. He mentors Christian, and then one day, I don't know, 2, 3 months into basically their relationship, their connection, I get a phone call from Christian saying Bill sexually assaulted me, and I was like, okay, that's pretty wild. And he was telling me I don't want to tell anybody. I'm just not going to talk to him anymore. I don't want to essentially ruffle any feathers. And so I talked to my mom, who's involved with the church, talked to my parents, and they were like, "No, he absolutely needs to say something because he's mentoring other people my age." And so basically what had happened was Christian had gone over to his house and was just hanging out. And then Bill was suggested to him that they give each other a massage. And so I think Christian gave him one. No, he gave Christian one. And then he was massaging like his shoulders, his back, and then he moved down to his legs, and then he started touching his groin. And of course, he was really uncomfortable with that, and he just got up and left and said, "This is incredibly uncomfortable for me." And he left. And so basically, myself and my family encouraged him to speak out. He had a meeting with the church. Church actually handled it in a good way. Not going to condemn that for them for that. Certainly, they removed him from the position that he was in, and um, there's certainly no public announcement or any type of public knowledge that this occurred. They were incredibly good at keeping these things very, very secret and not publicly known to the church. So they probably get a pretty low grade for that. But as far as removing him from a position of influence that he had, they did a good job on that regard. Bill never sexually assaulted me. I'm sure if we had continued our relationship, that could have happened possibly. He did suggest to me that a massage could be a like form of like sexual relief in the sense because I said I want to jerk off like I'm a guy like I need sexual release and I don't want to do that because it's a sin blah blah blah, and he says well go get a massage from like a masseuse as a way of relieving like this need for physical touch. So he did kind of allude to that. He never said like, hey, I want to give you a massage and do that. But basically, he seemed pretty keen on the idea of that being, some type of avenue for that. So who the hell knows? But anyways, yeah, I mean, just the effects of conversion therapy and hyper spirituality, hyper religious thinking on people like Bill and people the counselor, just creates a lifetime of pain, unresolved trauma, unresolved sexuality, and it comes out in these really weird ways. That's why you see priests and pastors and Sean Bowles recently, being accused of these things. And so it's certainly not the church is the church is certainly not an entity you should allow to manage your sexuality at all. And it's just not the way to go in that regard. So, but yeah, a little bit more about myself. I did the second year program, and then I left. Started a career, did that career for a number of years, and I was seeing another church counselor in private, mostly through telehealth because I was traveling a lot for work, and I was seeing that counselor to continue conversion therapy, to continue to try not be gay. So fast forward about 25 years old at that time, 3 years later, just had crippling anxiety, very, very difficult time functioning in life, maintaining work, relationships, and it was just a very, very low point in my life. And so I sought help. I got help. I saw a number of different therapists and other medical professionals, and they were able to help guide me in the right direction. It took me a long time in order to get there, but incredibly comfortable in my sexuality now. I've dated a number of guys. I plan on marrying a man, having a child with a man, and have a very successful career now. I make more money than I ever thought I would, and own my own home and cars and boats, and have a great life. I'm genuinely happy, and it is no thanks to the church at all. I can say I will never set foot in Bethel Church again. It's truly an awful organization. I saw so many mentally disturbed individuals with genuine trauma trying to apply hyper spiritual solutions to solve basically just parts of themselves that have been so abused and so traumatized, even outside of conversion therapy, just anxiety or social anxiety or rejection or abuse, things like that. Just these really, really deep parts of themselves that have been so traumatized. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with internal family systems therapy, but basically these parts become exiled inside of us and they become pushed down into a deeper level and it becomes difficult to access. Well, what does the church teach? It teaches nail it to the cross, pray to God, read your Bible, go to support groups, et cetera, et cetera. But they're just incredibly powerful tools to push away very burdened parts of ourselves. So for example, a girl named Michelle that I knew, she reached out to me. Uh, well, actually, I guess I'll say this first. I saw a Facebook post by her a couple of years ago, and she said that please pray for me. I'm being haunted by a spirit of witchcraft daily, daily. And then this follows up with posts basically saying I am being like hunted by like warlocks and witches, and they like know who I am and they know my spiritual authority in the area, and I have to leave this area. And then she messages me and she says, "Can I come stay with you?" And I'm like, absolutely, I didn't say absolutely not, but I just said no. Like, I've got my own life. Like, I don't want that. I'm not interested in inviting that to my home. But it's just another extreme. It's just one of the hundreds, if not thousands, of people I met at that church or going, in and out of the church that had issues as severe as that, as delusional of thinking as that that was caused by these hyper spiritual solutions being applied to their life, and being applied to things that can be solved through traditional therapy, traditional medicine, psychiatrists, support groups, being part of the gay community. And so, that was just one of the major fallacies that I saw while I was there, was just these, like, for example, the phrase "nail it to the cross," right? Oh, I have a sexual desire. Let's nail that to the cross. You know what I mean? Okay, well, now you're denying a part of yourself. Or anxiety. Oh, nail that to the cross. Let's push that away. Let's stuff that down. Let's not actually get in touch with the part of ourself that is anxious and why it is anxious and why it's afraid or sad or angry, scared, whatever it is. Let's just use an external tool like God or Jesus to push that further inside of ourselves so that it doesn't become resolved. And it's shocking. I mean, it has a massive toll on the mental health of more people in that church than you think. Now, I will say I met some beautiful people while I was there. I still have I still have a few friends from that time that I consider very good friends. They're amazing people. They accept me for who I am and what I want to do with my sexuality now. And a lot of the members there are very, very kind, loving, great people who don't have mental health issues, who are genuinely pursuing the concepts that are being taught by the church and trying to be good, loving people, And so I'm not trying to overgeneralize and say that this place is an entirely evil entity and that it's out to get everybody, but I am saying that there are severe negative mental health consequences, especially for the LGBTQ community inside of that, because the religious principles being taught are awful. They're just so deeply traumatizing. For example, concepts like the sensation of some same-sex attraction being demonic. Just take that one very simple concept and you can break that down. So now we're associating a sense of feeling inside of ourselves, our sense of energy that we have, like I have a pull in this direction towards this person, right? And so we're associating these like physical experiences of ourselves with these really wild rational ideas, such as this is demonic. And so then, therefore, if this is demonic, then I have to do X, Y, Z. Pray, fast, speak with a church member or a friend that's part of the church that can help guide you through that. And it just creates this massive rational web of thought that it becomes created to navigate these kinds of spaces, and it doesn't work at all. I mean, it just gives you more anxiety. I mean, if something demonic is attacking you, then you don't have control over that. It's outside of you. You know what I mean? But the reality of it is that the anxiety you're experiencing is just a burdened part of yourself. It's not outside of you. It's not an entity. It's just a part of you. It's a part of your energy that's sad or whatever. And so it's just not It's the concepts the church uses to teach members of the LGBTQ community to navigate these difficult spaces are just incredibly damaging. And that's just one concept, just that one demonic association. That's just one small concept that causes a lot of trauma. But if you undergo hundreds of hours of conversion therapy, you can imagine how many concepts you learn, how deeply these things go inside of yourself, and how difficult it is to navigate that space, and come out of that and redefine your identity and redefine your sense of self, uh, into a place where you can love yourself and not be attacked by demons and not be, uh, you know, constantly surrounded by fear from all these religious thinkings. I'll kind of end it on this, but through my own thinking, I came up with a concept of religion promises to solve the anxiety it creates. And that was the truest thing. Religion gave me so much anxiety, and it proposed so many solutions to the anxiety that I was experiencing. But the biggest solution was to leave it entirely, and never look back. And I certainly won't. Um, and I will say I do have a good, strong connection with God. Could be better at times, like anybody, but um, you know, I I do draw on the heart of God, and I do feel nourished by the love of God on a regular basis, and feel very settled and peaceful about that. Um, but I certainly do not feel peaceful about the church or what Bethel propagates, as far as thinking for the LGBTQ community. It's insanely harmful, and I would not recommend it to anybody. Absolutely. So hope somebody can benefit from this. Thank you.